Okay, this video is going to be about the beginning parts of fractions, an introduction to fractions. I'm going to start by talking about the basic terms of fractions. We have a numerator. So let's first of all talk about a fraction. If I have the fraction 5/8, 5 is the part, 8 is the whole. 5 is the numerator, so the numerator is the top number in the fraction. And the denominator is 8, so it is the bottom number in the fraction. You know what a fraction is. Improper versus proper. Improper fraction is when the numerator is greater than the denominator. And a proper fraction is when the numerator is less than the denominator. 5/8 would be a proper fraction. 8/5 would be an improper fraction. Okay, so if you look at this shaded piece that I have in your notes, we need to find out what shape is, what fraction of the shape is yellow, what fraction is purple, and what fraction is rust or the red color. Okay, well first of all we need to know how many whole parts there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 parts. Okay, and of those 10, how many are yellow? 1. So 1/10 of my shape is yellow. How many are purple? 2. So 2/10 of my shape is purple. And how many are rust? 4. 4/10 of my shape is rust. Now, these two fractions here are not in simplest form, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. The next thing we need to talk about is be familiar on changing an improper fraction to a mixed number. Remember, improper fraction is when the numerator is larger than the denominator. So like 9/5. How do I change an improper fraction to a mixed number? This bar also means divide. So really it becomes 9 divided by 5. So how many times will 5 go into 9? 1 time. I have 4 left over. So it's not 1 remainder 4. We're going to write the remainder as a fraction. Okay? So I have 1 whole and 4 out of the 5 left over. So 9/5 is the same as 1 and 4/5. Okay? Know how to change a fraction to a division problem? That's what I just did over here. The numerator is going to go inside the box. The denominator is going to go outside the box. All right. Graphing on a number line. Okay, let's graph 1/4, -1/2, and -3.5. Well, when we graph, the first thing we need to do is put 0 because that's the boundary between the positives and the negatives. And then I like to do the whole numbers. So 1, 2, 3. -1, -2, -3. 1/4. 1/4 is about 1/4 of the way through, so I'm going to put it here and I'm going to label it 1/4. -1/2. -1/2 is halfway between -1 and 0, so that's -1/2. And -3.5. Here's -3, and I'm going to move down here and do -3 1/2. Okay? We skipped the what does it mean for an expression to be undefined. I will talk about that in class on Wednesday. All right, equivalent fractions. I said you can create an equivalent fraction as long as you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. And I said 3/8, there's my fraction. If I multiply the numerator and the denominator by 3, 3 times 3 and 8 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 8 times 3 is 24. So 3/8 is equivalent to 9/24. Now, if I gave you the fraction 7/11, would 28/44 be equivalent? Is there something I can multiply 7 by to get 28? 4. If I multiply 11 by 4, will I get 44? Yes. So those are equivalent to each other. You could also do the same thing by dividing. If I gave you the fraction 5/15, is there a number I can divide 5 by and 15? Yeah, 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Those are equivalent fractions. Okay? Comparing fractions is something I will talk about in class on Wednesday night. So that's your introduction to fractions, video 1 of probably 3.